The North Cenrtal College wrestling team ends their CCIW regular season schedule with a tough dual meet loss to Elmhurst. But the team is now focused on making a statement in the postseason. There's only one place that keeps you up to date on all Cardinal athletics, right here on the Cardinal Report. Welcome to the Cardinal Report. I'm Marc Dahlquist. Joining me this week is wrestling head coach Kevin Bratland. Coach, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So take us to the start of the season. You guys come in, you were ranked 11th nationally in the coaches poll. You know, what was the thoughts coming in? You had 3 guys returning that were national qualifiers. Were you really trying to get them back there or try and boost up some of the other guys to their level?
Yeah, we had those 3. We knew we were going to be tough in the lower weights. We knew we were going to have a really young upper weights, you know, kind of just dependent on how they did and progressed throughout the season. You know, we boosted the schedule, put in a lot of Division I teams, wrestled Division I competition. You know, mainly I think the emphasis was, you know, we wanted to have national champions this year, and that's really what we were pushing for and what we set up everything for. And that's kind of why those younger guys are struggling a lot, because they're in such a intense schedule that it's just, as a freshman, it's just hard to compete at that level. I think that by next year they'll be a lot better.
Yeah, you guys bring in some of those Division I opponents early on in the season, you know, including Stanford, Northwestern. Yep. What do you think those experiences were like? Do you think they help the team either gain confidence or gain more skill?
I think it does. I think it gives you kind of lets you see, like, for every guy where they're at. I think it probably helps maybe your more experienced wrestlers than your younger guys. But overall, I think it's still a good experience, and it's fun to wrestle those guys. You know, you really don't have anything to lose. You know, it doesn't hurt you in the rankings, anything like that. So you just go out and you have fun, and there's a little stress, and you just go out and wrestle hard. It's
got to be a confidence booster too if you take down a Division I opponent as opposed to a Division III.
Exactly. You know, you're talking, our guys wrestle. They volunteer to wrestle. You know, those guys, you know, a lot of times getting paid to wrestle, and so I think it makes them feel good when they're able, because people a lot of times in Division III, if they haven't wrestled the Division I level prior to coming to North Cenrtal, maybe they always in the back of their mind, they're always wondering, you know, what if I would have wrestled Division I? What would have happened? And now they have that opportunity to kind of see what would have or could have happened.
Is the atmosphere any different at a Division I meet than it is at Division III?
You know, I didn't think so. I thought it was still similar. I felt like we had a lot of alumni support when we went out to NIU, which was great. But I think it was very similar. You know, I think it just depends on the Division I school that you're wrestling. You know, if you're wrestling a Big Ten school, it could tend to be a little bit bigger versus, you know, non-Big Ten.
Well, one meet that you guys were at that had a great atmosphere was just this past week at Elmhurst College. You guys don't come away with the victory, but you did have some impressive individual showings.
Yeah, we did. I mean, Elmhurst has a real tough team this year, you know, so you can't take anything away from them. I thought my guys went out, looked a little bit flat, but I thought they still battled hard. We wrestled better the previous week against Augustana than we did against Elmhurst. So, but they have a good team. So, you know, they came out ready to wrestle, and I just don't think we were quite as ready as we should have been.
Well, the Cardinal Report was there to see the tough loss against Elmhurst College. In case you missed it, let's go to the highlight. Andrew Zobak and the North Cenrtal College wrestling team head to Elmhurst to battle the Blue Jays for the CCIW regular season championship. Nathan Fitzenrider, ranked number 1 in the nation, leads things off against Mark Johnson at 125 pounds. Fitzenrider blocks the shot by Johnson and gets the takedown to go up 2-0. Now up 6-0 in the third, Fitzenrider goes on the offense and shoots the double. He gets his 3rd takedown of the match to seal up a major decision. He'd win 9-0. At 141, nationally ranked Andrew Zobak is looking to spoil senior night for Jake Denoff. Zobak off to a quick start by getting a hold of the leg for the takedown to take a 4-1 lead. At the end of the period, now 8-1, Zobak locks in the cradle for the near fall before the buzzer rings. And he goes on to win 17-7. Next weight class at 165 features Devin Milheim and Mike Ryan squaring off. In the first, Milheim leading 6-2, uses the headlock throw for the takedown and the near fall. That's a 5-point move to make it 11-2. Milheim goes to shoot the single and gets caught. Ryan rotates and puts him on his back. 15 seconds later, Ryan scores the pin at 240. That puts the Blue Jays up 13-11, and all the momentum is now with Elmhurst. and the number 3 ranked Joe Rao looks to put things out of reach, facing Andrew Hiller at 184. Rao on the attack early shoots a perfect single leg takedown, and he jumps out to a 2-0 lead. Now looking to finish off Hiller, he sinks the legs in to turn Hiller on his back, eventually leading to the pin at 147. That put Elmhurst up 20-11 in the meet, and they go on to win 34-11.
Coach, that match at 165 really seemed to turn the momentum, of the meet. You guys were up at that point, and then all of a sudden, you're winning, and then a pin, and the next thing you know, it's all Elmhurst.
Yeah, it's I would probably say that we're a rival school of Elmhurst due to location and success of both of our schools, and it's been a back and forth. They won the conference 3 years, we won the conference 3 years, that type of thing. And this year, kind of, in years past, we had gone out and made our breaks and pulled away with the victory. And this year they went out and they got the breaks and made their breaks. And yeah, the pin at 65, our Devin Milheim was out there just wrestling real tough. Beating the kid like 11-3 or something.
Yeah.
Gets rolled in a pretty tough roll and just couldn't get out. And I think it just kind of the momentum just kind of left a little bit.
Yeah, it just sort of took the air out of the tires. But talk about that rivalry that these two teams have developed. Wrestling's sort of different than other sports in the CCIW. There's only 4 schools that have them. You have teams, I should say, and you, Elmhurst, Augustana, and Wheaton. Yep. And it sort of seems like Elmhurst and North Central have been the top tier teams until recent years, where Wheaton and Augustana have sort of moved up as well.
Yeah, and I think that's great. I think that's great that Augustana and Wheaton have gotten better. North Central and Elmhurst have kind of, I suppose, lack of better words, but ruled the last 6 years. But I think as the other schools continue to get better, then North Central and we're all going to continue to get better. If we can get all 4 of these teams in the CCIW, ranked in the top 30, which I think is very doable. It just says a lot for Division III wrestling and Division III wrestling in the state of Illinois, which maybe in the past hasn't been looked at as kids coming out of high school maybe are passing up Division III opportunity because it wasn't as big. Maybe the schools weren't as good as they have been in the past. But now that all 4 of us are premier players nationally, being in the top 30, top 25, I hope that more high school kids will look at it as a legitimate opportunity for them to compete at the Division III level.
Do you think that the fact that you have so few teams makes it more competitive or less competitive?
I don't know. I think people always look at it and they're like, oh, there's only 4 teams, it must be easy to win conference. And it's not the case at all. I think even with 4 teams versus 8 teams or whatever it is, it's still very competitive. It's still tough to win. Everything has to go right that day. Even if you have 8 teams in your conference, how many of them legitimately actually have a shot of winning the conference championship? Maybe 2, maybe 3 at the most. So it's really the 4. You take the 4 best teams at the top of any sport in any conference, and that's kind of what you have. So I think it's extremely tough.
Well, North Central and the Elmhurst Blue Jays have developed quite the rivalry over the past few seasons, and we caught up with a couple of players from both squads to see what they feel about it in this week's What's the Word?
It is definitely different than the other sports in the CCIW. They're not really powerful in any other sport than wrestling. Last year, wrestling was the only sport that Elmhurst won a CCIW title in. They beat us by a half a point in the tournament. But with wrestling, it is the biggest competition. Augustana is building a program in Wheaton too, but since Kevin and I got here 6 years ago, it's been us or Elmhurst every year that's won the conference tournament, and it's been less than 5 points every year.
And we wanted to beat them so bad ever since I've been here. And it's just, I don't know exactly how to explain it other than, it's just like, two solid teams every year just going at it, and they've just gotten the better of us, so it's just, really just waiting to finally get that win.
We always know that it's going to be a good duel going in. Ever since I've been involved with North Central, us and Elmhurst have had good duels, close duels. Kind of upset that they won so heavily tonight, but I gotta commend Elmhurst for what they did. It was a good job. They wrestled really well. They had a good game plan and they stuck to it.
It's nice to have that competition. Sometimes you go out there and you beat Wheaton up, so it's nice to have a team like Elmhurst that's close, that you're going to compete for not only with recruits, but you're going to have close duels with. So for the conference, it's a good thing to have.
So, Coach, you guys finished up the regular season with a 2-1 conference record. Are you guys looking ahead right now to the conference meet, or are you focused on what you guys have coming up?
Right now, we just focus weekly. We have the Pete Wilson Invitational, which is at Wheaton College, so we're focusing on that right now. It's still an opportunity for people to kind of just make their mark and going into the conference and going into nationals if they haven't already. I think it's an important time where a lot of guys turn the corner at this tournament, and it really helps them going into the postseason.
And this tournament really is one of the focal points of the season. It's one of the more prestigious tournaments in the Midwest. Do you guys really enjoy competing in something this big?
Well, yeah, I mean, it helps that it's close to home, which is, you know, a lot of teams are coming from out east, or they're coming from Ohio, you know, where it's a longer trip for them. It's right in our backyard, and it's a 2-day tournament, 2 weigh-ins, 32 teams. So it's pretty prestigious, and it's a big deal if you can pull away the championship in this tournament. It's a good indicator for nationally how you can compete.
And individually, Nathan Fitzenreiter is going for his 3rd straight Pete Wilson Invitational Tournament champion at his weight.
Yep.
You know, what does that mean to the success that he's had over the years?
I mean, he's just a phenomenal athlete, wrestler. He's a real student of the sport. He, you know, understands wrestling and what it takes to win. And I think it's important for him. I mean, he was a semi-successful high school wrestler. He finished 3rd in the state tournament, and now finishing 3rd nationally. You know, and being ranked number 1 in the country right now, it's important for him to go out and just maintain that. And you know, going into nationals, I think he's where he needs to be right now. Just needs to stay healthy, and he'll be good to go.
Now, during the season, you guys he switched weight classes. What was the motivation behind that?
Well, we originally had 2 guys at 141 that we felt that were national contenders. Nathan dropped down, and one of the 41-pounders was going to slide into the 133-pound spot. So we'd have national contenders at those 3 weight classes, and then at 149 we'd return All-American as well, and then Joby Bodie and Jason Bonham at 57, 65. So we fell all the way up to, you know, those weight classes. We were very solid. You know, again with the younger guys up top, we knew that they would have a big learning curve. But then Brian Dyer is the guy that was going to drop down for 141, and then he suffered an injury and won't be competing this year. But Nathan's ranked number 1. His weight's under control. He's feeling good down there, so he's going to stay at 125.
So he really made the sacrifice for the betterment of the team.
Yep.
And not individually.
Yep. He made it for the betterment of the team, and now it's just we're just going to go with it and not going to look back, and it is what it is, you know.
Well, we look forward to seeing where you guys go from here.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere, because after the break, Coach and I will be joined by 2 wrestlers that are dominating on the mat. Keep it right here on the Cardinal Report.